murder, mystery, and high fashion, because we're in sick this week because we're talking Last Night in Soho and House of Gucci. Chris, what a lovely name.
I don't consider myself to be a particularly ethical person, but I am fair. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? This is our third episode in some of the favorite films that we have been coming across from 2021. As Scott said, we're going to be doing The House of Gucci and Last Night in Soho. So, Scott, how was your last night in Soho?
Well, okay, first, let's wish you a happy belated birthday, Chris, because your birthday was last week.
Oh, thank you.
Just how does it feel to be 25 to 45, whatever the casting director needs?
It's great. I am approaching the line where I need to go back and edit my my profile so that I can knock a couple years off again. What do you mean I can't play 29? Look at this face. But thank you. Yeah, it's been nice. Another year older. And
all right, fuck, enough about you.
All right, let's go.
But yeah, so Last Night in Soho. Now, when we did our looking forward to 2021 episode, which people can find in our back catalog, this was one of my honorable mentions because I think the trailer dropped like the day we're recording too, and I love me some Edgar Wright.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what other films by him do you are on your kind of not best of list, but like what are your favorite films by him?
To be honest, he hasn't done a film that I haven't enjoyed. Right, the only thing of his I haven't watched is his that TV series he did with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, Spaced.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of led to Shaun of the Dead. So that's the only thing of theirs I haven't watched, or his I haven't watched. All the movies I've watched.
Did he also do End of the World or This Is the End or whatever? That movie was fucked. Like, I mean, I guess because Shaun of the Dead is so good and so is Hot Fuzz. And it just felt like I was like, what is going on here? This movie is really weird. Where the other two were like very clear parodies. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. And we should actually at some point do both of those films or one of those films because they're amazing. Like, they are such fantastic films.
Hot Fuzz has one of my favorite shot scenes in which it's the introduction to the Timothy Dalton character, where you see that like him with that shitty eat Grinch smirk, and then it pans out and that's just a picture of him, and then right beside him is him with the same shitty grin smirk.
That's the stuff, like that type of stuff that they do, like when people are turning into zombies. They're not turned into zombies yet, but people look like zombies because that's how people go to work on the the bus and stuff like that, and like just kind of like ambling around or whatever. So good.
No, and even World's End, like I thought, like it had it, like I enjoyed it, and I just thought the end with the whole aliens thing was just a big like kind of like fuck you to Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Like, how are you going to end it with aliens kind of thing, right?
Just like this, boom, aliens.
Yeah. And so they're like, let's do ours, right? The world's going to end and it's aliens. Let's do a pub crawl.
Sure.
But so this movie does have some things that I'm going to say give it some points.
Okay.
Number one, the star of the movie, Thomasin McKenzie, dropped out of a film called Top Gun Maverick to make this movie. So that right there gives her points and the movie points.
Okay. Do you think, hold on, and you can answer this now or later. Do you think she's going to regret that decision?
No, I think because this film, it's like I enjoyed it, but there is some what's the word, like gaps in terms of what was done to the film, like cinematography wise, like how the film's shot. I think you yourself will enjoy this a lot. There is a lot of like nice medium crane shots, like and like moving shots that they do, and especially with like mirror tricks that they do.
Yeah, I love mirror cinematography.
So I think you would love it a lot, and there's a lot of it in this. Right now, I think for me, like, I'm going to need to watch it again. It's one of those that like I enjoyed it, but like to be on like a top list, I might have to watch it again, which I probably would wait for it to be on streaming. I won't pay the $25 for it again. But yeah, because there's a lot of plot holes on this, and then a lot of the rules that are established at the beginning of the film just go away.
Okay, so, that's convenient.
Yeah, so in terms of how the whole like whether she's going, like, because I thought this was going to be, going in and watching the trailer, I thought this was going to be The Sixth Sense meets Back to the Future.
Nice.
So I thought it was like, okay, she's dealing with ghosts, but somehow she goes back in time and visits like what happened to these ghosts, right?
Yeah. That sounds cool. I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, you would think that's what it was. And at the beginning, that's what it kind of seemed like. It seemed like it was like a quantum leap kind of thing where she inhabited one of the ghosts' bodies back in the past. And then when she wakes up in the future, all of a sudden, like, she has a hickey on her neck.
Okay, so you're like, okay, you're time traveling.
Yeah, but that never happens again.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like, okay, you're not time traveling now. So in terms of story wise, and that's the thing, like Edgar Wright co-wrote this film with Christy Wilson Carnes, and she wrote 1917.
Okay.
And she was a staff writer on that Showtime show, the first one, Penny Dreadful. I don't know if you watched it. It was really good.
I've heard it's good. It's on my list of like films to watch, or not films, shows to watch.
Yeah, it was really good.
Did you watch the second season?
I haven't watched the second season. Like, okay. Not the second season. Like, I've watched the Penny Dreadful, like all 3 of those seasons. I haven't watched like the spinoff that they did, City of Angels or whatever the fuck it was called. But yeah, like all the Penny Dreadful was like I enjoyed, and she was a contributor on a lot of those episodes. So it was a tight-knit group. So like writing wise, especially with the supernatural themes, like I thought this was going to be out of the park, but unfortunately, it wasn't. That was the problem, right? Like, it's still entertaining, it's still good, and again, like a lot of the shots were really well done. I just think like they put a lot of, and I don't know if it's just like audiences' attention spans or something, that people think they need to put in like a shit ton of try to put in a shit ton of twists in a film, so that at the end you can have that kind of Sixth Sense feeling that you're like, oh my god, right? But majority of the twists that they try to put in
don't really work.
Yeah, you saw it coming.
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
As opposed to when you originally watched The Sixth Sense, like you never saw it coming.
Yeah. Until you go back and you're like, they were just they were not projected, but they were there. Yeah. Right. Like if you really were able to take that far away view of The Sixth Sense, and mostly it becomes like a confirmation, or not confirmation, hindsight biases. You're like, oh, you never see these two together, and he can't get into this room, and like da. Right. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, when he's in the restaurant, like, oh, he doesn't even touch his wife. She just leaves, kind of thing, right? She's super sad. But yeah, I think, and that's why I think I need to watch this one again, kind of thing, to just see if there's anything else that does it. Like, to me, like this film, in the words of a wise man, that I heard once. This film clocks in at 156 minutes. I think they might have been able to drop 26 minutes and just
sounds like a wise man. That man should have that man should have a podcast.
Make it a little tighter, and then they could have dropped some of the other stuff, like the red herrings, to try to throw away the twists and just like keep it tight as shit. And in terms of, like I was saying, in terms of cinematography, the cinematographer on this film was Chung Hu Chung, who did Zombieland Double Tap. He did Stoker. I don't know if you've watched that, but it's really good with Matthew Good. And he was the cinematographer on the original Old Boy, not the Spike Lee remake, but the actual foreign one, or Korean one, right? Or Japanese one, whoever it came from.
I thought it was Korean, but
yeah, whatever. But yeah, in that movie's like,
or maybe it's from Hong Kong. Actually, it might be from Hong Kong.
Yeah, but that one is an amazing film if no one's ever watched that, especially how it's shot, the tight scenes, and like the hall room fights. That's what kind of started the whole like raid kind of cinematography.
Yeah. How was the acting? Because there's some pretty solid actors in Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, it was. They like Timothy McKenzie. She did a really good job. Anna Taylor-Joy as well. Like she's more like, how do I say it? Like, she doesn't have a lot of lines in the film per se. Hers is more of Benicio
like her image.
Hers is more like a Benicio del Toro kind of thing, where everything's kind of visualized and through her actions and her facial expressions instead of her saying it through the words, right? Like, so she did well. Matt Smith did good. I would say, in terms of my one critique is they really, like, Terrence Stamp is in it, and I think personally they wasted him a lot because he was kind of just built in there as he was a red herring for the whole movie, right? So once you get to his twist, it's just like a really big letdown kind of thing. But
so any like, do you recommend it? What's your final kind of like, letter grade or percentage or what?
If I have to do it like a letter grade, like right now, I would say it's a B minus.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But maybe that'd change on a second pass.
Yeah, well, like, because I think it might be one of those films that every time you watch it, it's gonna grow because you're gonna notice a lot more. Because once you get to the end and you know what the end is, kind of thing, it is one of those ones you might want to rewatch to like picking through, see what's going on, kind of thing, right?
Do you recommend people watch it?
I do, just for like I said, the cinematography, the fucking soundtrack's amazing on it too, right?
I bet it's all like cool 60s.
Yeah. If you love 60s, it's played through the whole movie, right? So, and that alone was fucking enjoyment. But tell me about Lady Gaga and her bathtub scene.
So, House of Gucci, and I mean, I'm having a rough year with films, man. I am having a really, really rough year. I was super excited to see this. I mean, I read this story a decade ago. Just that, the whole story around, Gucci's kind of reinventing, like Gucci was kind of on the downturn and then they were brought back, with Tom Ford. Okay, so there is going to be some spoilers, but I mean, this is a true story. So, you got to bear with me. The murder of Maurizio Gucci and stuff like that. Like, I knew this story. I was like, oh my God. So you're going to have this amazing cast of like Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Jeremy Irons, Selma Hayek, Al Pacino. Every one of them has an Oscar or an Oscar nod, including the director. Ridley Scott has 4 Oscar nods himself. And this is the guy of like Blade Runner, Gladiator, Black Hawk. Like, you're like, okay, like you've got like 1970s, 80s, fashion. You've got Gucci, you've got A-list stars, you've got A-list director, you've got a fucking murderer. Like, this should be perfect. Unfortunately, It is not. Okay, so Peter Howell from the Toronto Star had this to say. Regrets, we have more than a few regarding House of Gucci, beginning with the underachieving A-list cast. So the acting for some, so I would say that Lady Gaga does a great acting job. We're going to talk about the accents in a bit. Lady Gaga's acting is great. Adam Driver's acting is solid. Jeremy Irons is great. He's only in it for a very short period of time at the beginning. I mean, Salma Hayek does a decent job, as she's also a bit of a minor character with a really important role. She plays kind of like a fortune teller that ends up leading to the murder, right? She's kind of advising Patrizia, which is Lady Gaga's character. Al Pacino, man, I love Al Pacino. I find that I'm starting to see that Al Pacino is not able to transcend Al Pacino. So he tends to, like in this, definitely in House of Gucci, he often just feels like it's Al Pacino, not a character, right? Like not Aldo Gucci. It's like that, like, hoo-wah! Like Al Pacino is still kind of always Al Pacino on the screen, which like, so if you think of like, say, Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, like he's kind of Jack Nicholson, but that works for that character. And in this, because he's playing like a real person, you got to get it better, right? Like you got to get it right. And Jared Leto, what the fuck? Like he plays, and I'm going to steal a bit of a quote. I can't even remember where I read it. It might have been IndieWire or something like that. Like this idea that Jared Leto is basically playing like the Saturday Night Live version of like Paolo Gucci. Like he's so over the top, and he's covered like he's a bigger man, right? And obviously Jared Leto is not a big man, so he's under a bunch of like prosthesis or prosthetics and stuff like that, and he's just fucking fumbling and mumbling around all over the place. And I am going to read a quote from Tom Ford in a sec about some of this. My basic stance on what all these A-list actors is, if you're going to use all this star power, they all have to understand that they are not all the stars of the fucking movie, is that they need to be in service of the story. So if you got a minor role, you got to act like a minor role. And, you know, Scott, often he dwells on these scenes like just play out. And it almost feels like each actor is like, oh, okay, I'm going to have a big moment here. And then so it plays out and it slogs the fucking film down. So the film's 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Like it does not need to be this long at all. So yeah, like, and I mean, it's interesting that, have you seen Ridley Scott's other film, The Last Duel yet? Or
No, I'm a millennial, so apparently I'm the reason why the movie didn't do well. So I have not.
Yeah, so I'm interested because I am gonna watch it, and I'm gonna be interested to be like, I don't know, Ridley Scott, did you just fuck up as a director? Like, are you losing your chops? Like, what's going on here?
I don't think you can, like, he's what, 80 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And like his output, like for 80 years old, like is fucking amazing. Because he, like, just this year alone, like 2 movies, right? Last Duel, House of Gucci.
Yeah, and with big stars and like big sets and lots of location shooting and stuff. Like most of House of Gucci was filmed on location, like in Switzerland and in Italy and stuff like that. So
yeah, and then what, last year or the year prior was the All the Money in the World.
Yep. Which had to go back into reshoots because of the
yeah,
they needed to remove some, right? Put some space between Spacey.
And then yeah, like his output for his age is, and not counting all the stuff he's producing through Scott Free Productions.
Yep.
Is amazing, right? Like my only question with him, especially like in the last 2 years, is what's his obsession with FX TV channel TV shows? Because they had the Trust show come out, which was the whole thing for Last Money in the World. And then just last year, they did the assassination of Gucci.
No, that was Gianni Versace.
Isn't that the same thing?
They're literally 2 different people and 2 different fashion houses, but sure. They're both Italian.
There you go, right?
And the assassination was done for different reasons, sort of. Actually, no, I guess the reasons are the same, jealousy and money and stuff. But one was a gay lover and the other one was an ex-wife. So, I mean, same, but 100% fucking different. But
it's like
that's awesome that you don't know the difference between Versace and Gucci. So that's
again, if you look at what I'm wearing.
It's time to take out the trash.
I'm not really into high fashion.
I thought that was high fashion. I thought that was couture or something. Like, I thought this was a new thing. It's derelict.
It's the hobo look.
Inspired by garbage.
I can derelict my own balls. Thank you very much.
So fashion designer Tom Ford, like, obviously, you know, he has struck out on his own now. He revives Gucci. That's a factual statement. He came in with a young, sexy kind of, you know, reinvention of Gucci. So he was there during a lot of this stuff in real life. Like, he knows these players and stuff like that. So here's a quote from Tom Ford. Leto's brilliance as an actor is literally buried under the latex prosthetics. Paolo, who I met on several occasions, was indeed eccentric and did some wacky things, but his overall demeanor was certainly not like the crazed and seemingly mentally challenged character of Leto's performance. While not directly commentating on his role in the film or Reeves Carney's portrayal of him, Ford noted that the moment of Maurizio's toasting him was inaccurate, as he had already been brought out of the company before Ford became Gucci's creative director. So there's a bit of that. I put that last part in there just because it talks about, there's some, you know, moving around of like timelines and stuff, which, I mean, you do in a film.
Especially when it is like based on a true story, right? Like,
sure. And I mean, the family has said, the few remaining members of the Gucci family are like, this is bullshit. But I mean, families tend to say that. I mean, a lot of the facts are, they are facts. Like I said, there's been written, you know, this is specifically based on House of Gucci by Sergei Fordin, but there's been lots of books about this story, right? The assassination and just the rise and fall of the house and stuff. So my kind of quote to myself was like, this film feels like a first cut, and the A-list actors seem to be acting as the leads in the film. They are acting in the service. They are not acting in the service of the story, but in the service of themselves. And if when you watch it, you feel like, okay, it's like a rough cut or a first pass, and he needed to go back in and like tighten stuff up. There is some really great music. The costuming though is amazing because Gucci worked with the film. So they gave them access to their archives and like any of their design and style and stuff. You know, some of the items were on loan from Gucci and stuff like that. So like, there's some beautiful, beautiful clothing in this film. And Lady Gaga, it does a really great job when she's just doing the acting, even when they're doing it, like speaking in Italian and stuff. The fucking Italian accented English, all of them fail. And I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine who speaks Italian, and she was just like, she spent some time living in Italy, and she's like, what is going on here? Like, this is so. Have you ever seen Valkyrie, the attempted assassination of Adolf Hitler? It's got Tom Cruise.
Yeah, where all the Germans are British people.
Yeah, I actually prefer that method. Right, is that there's two ways that you do this. Right, so you can go get your bingo cards ready. Quentin Tarantino's route in Inglourious Bastards, where if you want German accented English, you hire a German and then get them to speak English. You know, you get French people to speak French, and you know what I mean, where you just go to those nationalities, you get those actors. The other way, or I mean, I guess there's a third way. You can do it poorly, the way Ridley Scott did in this, and it gets done badly a lot. Anytime you're trying to fake accents, especially for long periods of time, like it's bound to fail. Unless somehow you're British doing American accents, because they seem to do that fantastically. But I actually like the way they do it in Valkyrie, because you know who the Germans are. They're the ones wearing the German uniforms. You know what I mean? They have titles and they have their rank, and they're, you know, being addressed by their names. And you're like, those are the Germans. The fact that they speak with a British accent is irrelevant because you know they're the Germans. And because they're not having to focus on putting on bad German accents or even good German accents, they can just do the acting, right? And so nothing will pull you out. Like, one of the things that'll pull you out of a scene really fast is a bad accent, because it just, you hear it in your ears. And I mean, Lady Gaga's been like told that she sounds like she's doing like a Dracula accent or.
Forgive me. I'm trying to teach Alessandra the importance of not touching other people's belongings.
Wasn't it like
Russian
or something like that?
everything but Italian, right? Where if she would have just, you know, used her American accent, like I said, her acting is fine. And like, she does a good job. I mean, there is a couple scenes where there's a bit of like, it's a bit overacted, but I mean, considering she doesn't have a ton of acting credits behind her. I mean, she already got Oscar nods for, and I think she won an Oscar for for the music in A Star Is Born. Like, that's not bad. Like, she and I bet you she will be going to the Oscars again. I think Lady Gaga and Adam Driver will both get Oscar nods. If they give it to fucking Jared Leto, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because he looks
not even best supporting for Leto.
No, wait, when you watch it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels so farcical, and it looks farcical alongside people who are not being farcical. So it's not like we're watching a farce, and so everybody's a bit over the top. There's everybody else is acting straight, and then Jared Leto is like falling around like almost like a Chris Farley, like I'm so crazy over here, but with his Italian accent.
So the gist of this movie, what I got is
go.
You recommend each one of these actors to watch and listen to our podcast.
100%.
So that way,
don't worry, we will tag you guys in it so you don't miss.
So that way you can see what a major actor would be once Chris talks, and the minor character, me, who who's just quiet, doesn't overspeak. You'd be like, this is why you guys got to be more Scott.
That's right. Be more Scott, less Chris. So I mean, the critics gave it a 61. Audiences are not hating it, man. Like, it's got an 83 for audience. I mean, audiences don't know what the fuck they're talking. I don't know what they think they're watching. I don't know. Maybe they're just excited to see all these A-list actors on screen. The locations are really nice too. Like, they do a really good job with the location shooting. It's done 71 at the box office. It costs 75. I'm sure like once it hits the streaming, it'll make its money back.
Now, do you think, I know you said Driver and Lady Gaga, do you think Scott gets nominated for this one?
No.
Or because of all of his hoopla about The Last Duel, he gets nominated for Last Duel?
Well, I think I may even do Last Duel during this month. So after I watch it, ask me that question again. But if he gets nominated for fucking best director for this film, like, this is badly directed. Like, it's not well directed. The screenplay is by Becky Johnson, who's got an Oscar nod for Prince of Tides for adapted screenplay. So, I mean, she's a competent writer. I don't know if this is a screenplay issue, but it's definitely I don't know if it's a screenplay issue and a directorial issue, but it's a fucking 100% like a directing and editing issue. Like, and by editing, I mean like the length of scenes and stuff, that comes right from the director. Like, they're sitting alongside their editor, and he let this thing go out the door. And he's Ridley Scott. He's got tons of control over this fucking film at this point in his career. So sorry, Ridley, buddy. You gotta fucking you gotta wear this. You gotta wear this around your neck like a stinking fucking ostrich. But it looks good. It's a nice looking stinking ostrich.
I was gonna say, is that like a bit in the movie that they wear ostriches? Like, is that, I don't understand. Is that like
no? Just
what is wearing an ostrich? Like, where did that come from?
It's not a I don't think it's an ostrich. I got the bird wrong. It's about wearing I can't remember. But when you wear damn it, you threw me off my line. There's a line about in general, like a cliche about like when you wear this stinking bird around your neck.
Oh, egg on
it's
your
like
face?
It's not egg on your face. It's like when you're lugging like baggage around, right?
Oh, albatross?
I'll have to look up. It's not an ostrich. It's a different type of bird. I got the bird wrong. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely suggest that, like, it's kind of an interesting film. There's some definitely good scenes. There's some definitely good acting. Just don't bother watching it in the theater, and definitely don't pay like whatever the $25 or whatever it is to see it early. Just wait till it comes out on your favorite streaming service, or it has a proper rental price, like $4.99 or something like that. So
our producer is saying it's a fucking albatross.
An albatross. There we go. Yes, a stinking albatross around your neck. Thank you. It's nice to have a producer. Yeah. Unless you got any other questions, that's kind of my statement on House of Gucci.
No, I think we're good.
It's less House of Gucci, more House of Bloomingdale's. So
I was just waiting for you to actually like say the last words here before I go out, and I thought you would have came up with something instead of father son House of Gucci. You would have came up with something interesting for our podcast.
Like what?
I don't know, Chris Scott. How'd you like that movie? And that is our wrap for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends. If you want to get a hold of us, reach us at the www.howdyoulikethatmovie.com.
I like that. That's good. You should use that in your copy. Actually, that could even be the title. Father, Son, House of Gucci. I don't know. You can do the title. I don't know how to figure. I don't know how to jam them both in there. You know what I mean?
Or you could have done it in a Russian accent.
Father,
like, okay.
Son, House of Gucci, Chris and Scott. How'd you like this movie?
There you go. And that's a wrap.
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.